Hey everyone, welcome back to more WeUNIK World. In today's video, I'm going to ask my daughter some questions. They're going to cover various topics from super shallow to super deep. And we might trigger a little bit of tearage.
Alrighty.
But as always, these videos are meant to heal, inform, and uplift. And so that's the spirit that we're here with. So once again, we are WeUNIK World. And okay, little lady, we have questions from 1 to 13.
Oh, I think it's 12. Okay.
Yes, and you choose a number.
I'm just going to go straight for 13.
Okay, 13. All right.
Oh, goodness.
Well, no, this isn't that bad. So, this demographic that we're targeting includes a lot of young folk.
Right.
So, what role, in your opinion, do TV shows play in how youth behave? Like networks like Nickelodeon and a lot of child-centered shows. What role do you think those shows play in how youth behave?
Great question. I feel like a passionate person. Thank you for that question. But yeah, I think it plays a lot of roles because I feel like children are so malleable and they're so easily influenced by society and like what they think is a norm, and everybody wants to fit in and stuff like that. So I noticed something that I personally have a bit of an issue with is that a lot of like the shows for teenagers and younger kids have to do with like romance and like relationships and stuff like that. And like people are like, oh, well, that's what they do as teens. But I dare to say, is that what they do as teens, or is that what society programs them to be as teenagers? And so something like, I feel like there could be more shows for like children and teens that didn't necessarily have to do with relationships. Doesn't have to be about, or how cool we are, how much money. And what I also noticed is like, because I watch cartoons. Like I watch cartoons for babies. Like at one point I thought Bluey was like a normal show for people, and I like showed my family, and one of my sisters was like, is this a baby show? And I was like, I don't know, but turns out it is. But I love that show. But one thing that I've noticed is like a lot of the cartoon characters dress like streetwalkers. I'm just gonna call it what it is. And like, I don't have no judgment. I feel like if you want to show skin, do you. But once you're like at a certain age. But I've noticed like the cartoon teenagers going to high school have crop tops, like really short shorts. Even I play Roblox with my siblings. Even the Roblox Fashion Famous game, a lot of the choices that you can wear. So basically it's like a fashion show game where you have to like dress up for a theme. A lot of the clothes are lingerie. And this is for Roblox. And they're like literal 3-year-olds. I know because I played with my cousin who's like 3. Well, he was 3 at the time. But he's like there's 3-year-olds playing this game, and the characters are dressed in lingerie. So I think that if you start out at a bare minimum like child baby age thinking that lingerie is a form of clothing, then it changes, because like part of growing up is like, oh, I get to wear this kind of stuff later. And like I said, I don't have no judgment. You wear what you want to wear when you're a certain age, but I think like children walking around in crop tops and all these types of things, I think that the TV shows play a huge role in that. And also what children think is valuable, because these shows are typically about their boyfriend, girlfriend, everything else as well. And like not getting, it's like stuff like, I wish TV shows portrayed reality, because a lot of these shows also, they have these perfect families, they have these perfect lives, and then like really small things go wrong, like their lipstick color just happens not to match their jacket, and the whole episode is about how horrible that is. Or like superhero shows, which I think are fine, But I wish that there were more like family-based shows that showed what actually happens in people's normal lives, so that children and young people don't feel like there's something wrong with them or their household because they may not have a two-parent home, or they might be not raised by their parents at all. And so I think also it shows an unrealistic standard of what family is or isn't. And so when you don't have that traditional what it's supposed to be, and that and like these people be like teachers and stuff, the parents living in these big old houses. Like, I don't know any teacher that has multiple rooms in a house. Like, I'm not trying to be rude, unless they were like in the 50s or something. But it's like where are those shows for targeted at children that actually reflect the demographic that they're living, that still show them that they can still be okay in their situation? So I just wish that TV, especially for young people, was more about teaching them the way of the world and how they can best be themselves without comparing, oh, I gotta have this, or I should be like this, or like, and showing different body types, showing different skin challenges, like different disorders, different things that people, different poverty levels, different economic situations, different households, like stuff that could let them know, like, hey, it's gonna be okay, rather than this is how you should be, and if you're not like that, then you're the oddball. So long story really long.
Mm-hmm. So those are all great points. So what do you say to parents, first of all, because like what should they do to insulate their kids against bad influence from shows? And then what do you say to the kids who are comparing themselves to these shows?
Yeah. So what I would say to the parents is, like, I don't really know, honestly. I'm gonna keep it a bear sandwich with you. I don't know, but I think every person, period, needs like 3 things outside of everything else that they need. But everyone needs to be seen, everyone needs to feel heard, and everyone needs to feel safe and secure. So you might not be able to control what your child is watching on TV, because especially with like social media, like, you don't really know what your child is watching. Like, let's just keep it honest. However, you can keep the gates of communication open, so that, like my mom did, like, she'd rather us ask her questions than friends, because friends might be like, I mean, well, just try it and see what happens. But your parent might be like, okay, let me tell you what can happen if you try that out. It's up to you to decide that, but let me tell you all of the things that could happen if you decide to do what you're doing. So I don't think you can necessarily insulate them, unless we all come together as a society and really start pressuring these companies that are creating this stuff. Because we all know that, and I'm not trying to like throw shade, but like Hollyweird is Hollyweird for a reason. And these are the groups that are creating these shows and stuff. So unless everyone can come together and make our own networks and things like that, there's only so much you can do. But you can still work to be a like parent and a confidant and a listening ear and somewhat of a friend, so that when your child does show signs of insecurity, does show signs of feeling less than because of whatever, you can pick up on that and then try to guide them back to what's right. Because ultimately we're influential, we're being influenced from childhood and adulthood and further on. So just because, like, how many adults hate their lives because of Real Housewives shows, because they got all this money, but they're also going to jail left and right. But anyway, all these reality shows and like compare what they see on TV as well. So it's like, how much can you insulate your own self? And then, but just as long as you can be there for your child and point them in the direction, and as much as you can establish some sort of balance, because there's always going to be these other things. And we have to just remember, like, children or people, period, are like cups, and the world is always going to be pouring something into them. So you have to be matching that pour with positivity pour, with self-love pour, with some sort of spirituality pour, with some sort of mental wellness pour. Because if you let the world pour into your child, don't get upset when they start doing worldly stuff. Because, and granted, I'm not a parent, so it's easy for me to just say, do this and do that. But ultimately, if you have the responsibility, or if you have a child, it is sort of your responsibility to seek to pour positivity into them. And if you don't know how to do that, then there's YouTube, maybe like therapy, find some videos, like even send them some, like when I was working with the youth, I would send them motivational videos and stuff, like for the ones that wanted it, or just listen to them, ask them, how was your day? And really just let them vent, or ask them, what projects have you been working on? What creative things? If you know they like to draw, let me see some of your drawings. And give them an opportunity to shine and show off what they are good at, and then build a bridge of trust from there. And then they'll be more willing to take you down the road of what's really going on in their life, so that you can help keep them on the right path. What I would say to children is that what you see is not real. Because what I've learned, because I used to want to be a model, I used to want to be an actress, I used to want to be everything in the camera, everything like that. But now that I'm getting more involved and seasoned, I would say that I'm noticing a lot of those people's lives are really messed up. And I'm not judging them, because when you end up kind of messed up, it's because you had some messed up stuff happen to you. So I would just say not to emulate what you see, because you don't know what's behind the camera. You don't know what's going on in that person's personal life. You know, you don't even know truly what's going on in anyone else's life except for your own. Even people that you're around every day, you really don't know what's happening. We know as much as we see, and they say, like a wise person once said, we only know each other's representatives. We don't truly know what's going on behind closed doors. So it's very important that instead of focusing on, oh, how can I be more like this person? How can I be more like that person? That you can sit with yourself and discover, well, who the heck am I? What do I like to do? And when I graduated from, no, it was when I stopped cheering in college. I think it was either after I graduated, right when I graduated, or when I stopped cheering. But basically, because I was always like me, this thing. Like I always was doing something. So there was always another title associated with me. And with titles come boxes. That's why I didn't want to be a life coach, because I was like, man, then I'm going to have to be a life coach and be in this box. And so I'm telling you, just because you're on a team or you're associated with certain groups, you don't have to conform yourself to fit into that space. You can still be your unique self. And a lot of times with young people, it's like, well, I don't want to do this because someone's going to judge me, but like that's going to pass. Your brain is circulated or create, when you're younger, to care more about what people think as a teenager. It just is what it is. But as you develop, I would just say work towards appreciating who you are. And whatever people say about you, or whatever you think you want later down the line, a lot of times I discovered what I thought I wanted, when I got it, I didn't actually want. And they say rejection is often protection. So anything that didn't work out, realize that maybe that was protecting you for something. And, we're playing this game. So like if you think about it like from a vantage line of sight, like let's say Monopoly or something, if you're actively living as the shoe, you're not gonna, if you keep rolling, you might end up landing on Boardwalk and gotta pay somebody that whole bunch of money because you landed on their spot. But you don't know for certain that that's gonna happen either. You might be the one to buy Boardwalk. But the people playing the game can see, oh, I'm like 5 steps away from the Boardwalk, so let me like just hope that I don't end up on that. So all that to say, we don't know everything that's happening. And so no matter how hard or easy or whatever something is, we don't know what the end result is. So if you make a rash decision and say, well, I'm going to do this just because, and because I want to be like this person, you don't really know what the ramifications of that could be. So once again, I would just say, do your best to focus on who you are, focus on what makes you special, what makes you unique, and how you can be who you wish you had for someone else, rather than how could you get to the next whatever, because all the glitters ain't gold. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, we both read Paulo Coelho's The Winner Takes All.
Oh yeah.
And several other books, and we learned that yeah, all that glitters ain't gold, and showbiz, we're probably all better off not being in the industry.
Right.
So we've read these different things, so we are aware that much of what we see is not even real. Even the people acting the parts don't live those lives.
Yeah.
So how do you help or educate kids to know that they don't only have to consume the junk, because everyone has a device now?
Right.
And how do you help to mold the lens that the kids see the world through, so they don't even want to watch the junk?
Well, I don't really know how you would do that, because like controversy sells, and even that's why everyone's so on this Diddy stuff, because it's controversial. It's, that we want to take him out and all this type of stuff. So, I mean, I don't know if you can stop them from doing stuff, but you can help them instill balance to know,
yes.
Okay, I'm now a bit more irritable, and that's why parents and outside people are so helpful, because when you're a child, it's hard for an adult grown head person to realize sometimes that they are being a jerk or their mood is off. So it's exceptionally harder for someone who is still learning which deodorant works for their body, or even learning the fact oh, now I gotta wear deodorant, now I gotta wear deodorant every single day. I went from not having to do this, now I gotta do this, now I gotta do this. So it's they're already dealing with a lot. So first off, I would say have some compassion for the youth. And then second, I would say for parents or guardians, like I said before, keep a watchful, not a hawk eye, let me see everything you're doing, all that type of stuff, but just keep an eye, know your child, so that you can know, okay, something's off here. And instead of getting mad at them for having an attitude, or because I always say, with parents sometimes, they be getting mad at the kid for being mad, but it's you're the adult in the situation. So you need to have the emotional intelligence sometimes to, and I've done it before, and I don't have children, but I'm not saying something that I don't have experience with, so you're not what is she talking about? But sometimes you cannot stoop down to their level. If they're upset, instead of berating them for why you got an attitude, ask them, are you okay? I've noticed you're a little bit meaner lately, or what's going on with you? Why are you acting like this? And remind them, this is not how you normally are. You're normally a this and this and that, or in your best, even if they're not normally like that, because I don't know who you're dealing with, but typically on a normal day you're doing X, Y, and Z. What is going on? Because when people act out in general, it's not for no reason. So I would just say keep in mind of that. And then also just help instill balance with them. So if you notice something's going on, don't just send them videos, because how many videos do people send and how many do you watch? Sit down with them and do it with them. Say, you know what? We're about to watch some motivational videos today. I just feel like we need to watch it. And just I'm going to watch it, so we're going to watch it. And turn it into a bonding experience. And if you meditate, make your children meditate with you. Sometimes, I'm not saying you have to ring the hammer down on them, but if you can set a certain example for them and a precedence, and then include them, because kids, children, teens just want to be involved. The whole thing is they want to be a part of what's going on. So if you're a parent and you say hey, I'm about to do some yoga, come do some yoga with me. They might, oh, I don't want to do it, but come on. And then you can bond over that. So you can't necessarily keep them away from stuff because the society that we're in, but you can work with them and help them have practical go-to methods so that if they do start to notice themselves veering off, or you start to notice them veering off, you can have like tools that can kind of help them move back into a, all right, like that's not who I am. Let me come back to center. And like some people might say, like, granted, I haven't worked with like super bad kids, or not. I don't want to say bad, super non-behaving, but I do know, like, there was like one teenager that just pops into my head, and to everyone else, he's so like, because he's so loud, he's disruptive, and like all of these things. But when I would tell him, all right, whatever his name is, you need to calm down. You know, this is what's going on. I'm hearing these things. So, you know, but that was because I established, and not even in a long time. So it doesn't take a long time to establish trust with a teenager, as much as people think it does. But once I did that, and just, he would calm down. But anyone else that tried to calm him down, because they would come at him like, you need to do this, they're okay. Teenagers are naturally combative as it is, and like, who you think you are to come? So if you can be a calming voice for them and be like, hey, you need to let me see what you've been working on, and re-guide them, it typically works. I don't know if that answered the question, but I feel like I need to say that.
It did. Yes, it did. So yeah, so that's do you have anything else you want to add on this?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so great tips on, just minimizing the negative effects of media on the youth. So great tips. And we have so many more videos on our community. Depending on when you're watching this, the community has already launched, or we're in the process of launching it. So for this and other helpful videos, please do like, subscribe, and come back often. And please join our community, because we'd love to have you. Send us any questions you want us to cover, and yeah, we'll see you again.
Period.